Tadej Pogacar is paving his way to another Tour de France win and the Giro Tour double that hasn't been done in many, many years, since 1998. Heading in to the second rest day, it's Tadej Pogacar on top here at Plateau de Beille, and he annihilated his #1 rival, Jonas Vingegaard, adding in 1 minute to him and now setting 3 minutes up in the GC. It was a show of force today by Visma, but Tadej Pogacar, Team UAE Emirates, retaliated and hit him on the head hard for more time gains in this important march towards Nice in 1 week's time. Let's look back on the stage. It was a mammoth mountain day, the second day here in the Pyrenees, nearly 200 kilometers, 4 categorized 1 climbs before we had this final 4 categorized 15-kilometer climb. It was nervous pretty early on in the day. Biniam Girmay in the green jersey did well to get the sprint points at the intermediate sprint, adding in more points to his green jersey. You could tell Visma Lease a Bike was up to something today, putting their men on front all day. Despite that, we had a strong escape go, including former Giro d'Italia winner Jai Hindley of Red Bull. Also in there was Laurens de Plus and Richard Carapaz and Tobias Johansson of Uno X bridging up to them. We had a 5-man move that was working well together all day. The GC group was riding strong. Soudal Quickstep, despite a depleted team, always had Mikel Landa there right beside Remco Evenepoel. UAE Emirates, well, they were giving Tadej Pogacar a shotgun ride in his all-yellow kit. Jonas Vingegaard, the winner of the last 2 editions of the Tour de France, was today riding in the points jersey of best climber, the Maillot Pois, although that sits on the shoulders of Tadej Pogacar, but Vingegaard is wearing it today with Tadej in yellow. Now, there were attacks happening from this escape group. It was getting whittled down to just a select number of riders. One by one, when we were getting on to the final climb up to Plateau de Beille, riders were being distanced. We saw Carlos Rodriguez being distanced. We saw Derek G on the ropes, and a lot of that was due to the pacemaking of Visma Lease a Bike, including a massive pull by Matteo Jorgensen. Then 10.5 kilometers out, the Danish rider, winner of the last 2 editions in the polka dot jersey, Jonas Vingegaard, gives it a crack, gives it a go. Immediately, Tadej Pogacar is on his wheel, and back behind, it's Remco Evenepoel looking back to see who else is there, but everybody's distanced on the road. It's as if a bomb went off in the peloton. Riders spread out all over the climb. Jonas Vingegaard, despite that attack, did not look so brilliant. He looked back several times, and the key moment there was around 5.4 kilometers to go, with Tadej Pogacar looking cool as a cucumber, and at that moment, 5.4, 5.3, Tadej Pogacar sensed Vingegaard had no more. Tadej launched up the road. Vingegaard did not even try to respond. He'd already played his number, and he was drifting out the back, simply trying to hold the gap at a reasonable time. Also keeping an eye behind him on Remco Evenepoel, who was riding there about at 150 back, with Jonas Vingegaard 30 seconds back with 3 kilometers to race. Tadej Pogacar was just pounding ahead, riding, firing up the road. The fans, well, they were out in high numbers today. Not as bad as yesterday when we had a fan throwing potato chips on our race leaders. Horrible. They identified him, and he's been arrested. Up ahead, the polka dot jersey making his way through the crowds. 2 kilometers to go, 41 seconds still up there to Tadej Pogacar leading. The gap was just going to be too much for Jonas Vingegaard. He could not close it, and it was going to be too much at the end of the day to consider a 3rd straight Tour de France win, because with Tadej Pogacar's back-to-back Pyrenean win today, he really made a mark for himself coming over the line. I think it's his 14th stage win, coming here in stage 15 of the 2024 Tour de France, just marching ahead. Yellow bar tape, yellow shorts, yellow helmet, yellow jersey, and yellow script there on his rims, powering ahead, fist up in the air. It's Tadej Pogacar's show up in Plateau de Beille, averaging 37.8 kilometers an hour. And Jonas Vingegaard, oh, he looked demoralized coming in over the line. 59, 1 minute back, 105. Oh, it was a minute plus for Jonas Vingegaard coming over the line. 108, he was gonna have to settle, and that would put him back around 3 minutes, just out of gas. And Remco Evenepoel there around 2 minutes and 2 minutes and some change. And when we're looking at the GC, now it's 3 minutes back for Jonas Vingegaard and around 5 minutes back for Remco Evenepoel. The top 10 of the GC, it stays the same, but it is spread apart as if a bomb went off in the group. because all the riders came across the line just looking super, super tired out there on the day when they had to give all their energy. On this day, they had 4,800 meters of climbing with 5 categorized climbs. The only guy that had a smile on his face was Tadej Pogacar, maybe Derek G. I tried to get a moment with him, but he was exhausted coming over the line and then rode right back down to the team buses that are parked 15 kilometers down. We saw Felix Gall gathering himself there on the finish line, completely bonkered, knocked out. I spoke with Tobias Johansson, and he said, look, we want to win. The escapee wants to win, and he wants to hate these GC guys like Vingegaard, like Tadej Pogacar, but he loves the way they ride too much to hate them for never letting an escape get its chance. Richard Carapaz, also a former Giro d'Italia winner, like Jai Hindley in the escape. He was the last of the escapees to stick free today. He was caught up in all those attacks of Jonas Vingegaard, Tadej Pogacar. For his efforts, he got the most aggressive rider. Now I'll tell you, the riders were coming in slowly, around about 52 minutes back. That's when the final riders came over the line, and that included Mark Cavendish, who was just weaving, bobbing, coming over to the finish line. As he rode past us, he looked wasted and done. But the good news is for all the riders, there's a rest day tomorrow and a time to recoup. Jonas Vingegaard is going to have to think about what's in store for him as we have our final chapter of this 3-chapter book that is the Tour de France, because yesterday when I spoke with him, he said yes, he believes he can still win this Tour de France. Today, when the question was put to him, he said he doesn't know how it's possible. He said he had his best day out there today. He gave it his all. How is it possible to deal with Tadej Pogacar, winner of the Giro d'Italia, smashing stage wins here in the Tour de France, well in that yellow jersey? It's Tadej Pogacar on top in this 2024 Tour de France.